Hello guys, welcome back. Welcome back to a new part of Core Java tutorial. In today's episode, we are going to learn about how to create threads in Java. In Java, there is two methods to create a thread. First one is you can extend the thread class or you can use the runnable interface. So in this part, I'm going to explain how to create a thread using extending the thread class. Of course, in this program, there is the main method. This is a thread. We already see it in the previous part of this tutorial. That means here in this program there is already a thread present called the main method. So here I'm going to create one more user thread. The main thread is created by the program, the IDE itself. That means the main method itself a thread. That is the main thread that control all other threads. Now here I am going to create another thread. That means a user thread. So for creating a thread, I create a new class called new thread. I create a thread class called a new thread and make this class extends thread class. Extends thread. Okay. So now the second rule is you have to, if you extend thread on a class, then that class contain an override method from the thread class called the run method. So here I create that override method, public void run. Okay, you can start a thread using the start method. So whenever we call the start method, the run method will automatically invoke. That means the body of a user defined thread is actually resides on this run method. That means you can create a thread, you can create the body of a thread on the run method. That means you can easily invoke the run method automatically by calling the start method. That means you can start the thread using start method, and whenever you call the start method, the run method automatically invoked. Okay, so for creating a user thread, here I create a new class and extend that class with a thread, and I override that override method called the run method. Okay, so here I am going to create a constructor for this class, new thread. It has an argument name. Okay, so on the main method, I'm going to control the main thread, and here I start a for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than or equal to 5, and increment the value of I and print out some statement here, system.out.println main thread and value of I main thread and I equal to plus I. Just print out main thread and I print out the value of I here each time when the loop iterates. Also here I am going to sleep the main thread into some milliseconds. So sleep I sleep it into 1000 milliseconds. Of course, while sleep a thread, you need to insert that sleep statement into a try block. Here the exception is interrupted exception using the normal exception class. Okay, so here I just create a for loop on the main thread, and I pass the main thread into some milliseconds called 1000. Here you need to use the thread class name thread dot sleep thread. Okay, so here I am before invoking this for loop, here I am going to create an object of the new class, that is the newly created class, and that class contain a constructor which is as a string argument. So here I am going to create an object of that class, new thread t is equal to new thread with a string. I name it as, I provide string as user thread. T is equal to new thread. What is this? Okay, you have to specify the string into double quotes. Okay, so whenever execute this statement is an object creation, so whenever execute this statement, it will invoke the constructor. That constructor has a string argument, and here I'm going to call the superclass method. Super dot, I pass the name into the thread class constructor by using the superclass super method. So here what happens is, this name is set as the name of the thread. That means here the class extends threads, and on the main method I create an object of that class with an argument, with a string argument, and on the constructor of that class I use the super keyword. So now here I pass the name, that means that string, into the superclass constructor. That means here I set the name of the thread. Okay, so now we have to start the thread. For starting the thread, use that object, that means object of that class, and call that method called start. Now by calling this method, you can start a thread. So whenever we call this method, the run method on that class is automatically invoked. So whenever I call run method, start method, the run method will automatically invoke. So here also I am going to create a for loop. Copy this and paste it on the run method. Here it is not main thread, it is the user thread. So here I am going to get the name of that thread, this dot get name, get the name of the thread, provide some space, and print out value of 5. I is equal to, and print out the value of 5. Okay, now here also I sleep the thread, that means the current thread, into here I am going to sleep it into 500 milliseconds. Okay, so before start the thread, here print out a message, user thread starts here. Okay, so on the main method also I print this message, main thread starts here. So here I create a thread using extending thread class method. So whenever we extend the thread class, that class must contain an override method called run method. That is actually the body of the thread. So whenever we call the start method, the body, that means the run method automatically invoked. So now I am going to run this project, run the program. Here is the output. One more, I run it again. So you can see that first the main thread starts, and second the user thread start. First print out main thread into 0, again user thread into 0, again user thread, again main thread, and it is swapping. That means here what happens is, whenever we sleep a thread, another thread which is waiting is actually got the processor resource, and that will execute. So whenever sleep that thread also, the sleep thread invoke, and again it got the CPU resource. That means here the swapping is take place. One thread replace central thread and executes. Again that the sleeping thread will invoke on and again replace the current thread. Okay, that is what happens here. We are not able to predict what is the format of the output, because it is depend on the processor, or other working or other running application on your computer. If your computer running a lot of applications or a lot of process, then this output may vary on different systems or different processor, because we are not able to control the execution. It is actually decided by the processor or the current workload of the processor. This is how we create a thread using extending the thread class method. Okay guys, please subscribe my channel now for getting more video updates. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.